I think actually you spent like 5 years at that company and you went from the trainee to engineer to senior data engineer. Can you talk to us about your transition to being a senior data engineer? Why did you get promoted? And what does that mean to be a senior data engineer at the company you were working at?
Yeah, like I mentioned, I started with the data science bootcamp, and for quite some time I believed that I'm going to be a data scientist. As probably most know that I turned into a recovering data scientist, which means I wanted to do machine learning and AI stuff, but there was simply no real infrastructure to provide this. I had to build this infrastructure for myself. And that's how I slowly, over the course of the years, turned into a data engineer. Like 3 years ago, I finally realized and accepted this, that I'm going to be a data engineer. From there on, I put some time in developing the necessary skills for that. Before that, during my trainee, which was for like 2 years, I did everything. I had every data head on possible, which was quite good for me to get to know everything. But from there on, I focused solely on data engineering stuff, especially on the GCP. And this is how I slowly transitioned into being a senior data engineer because I took on new projects, which were quite vague and others wouldn't like to do because it was quite uncertain what to do and how to do it. And in this messy project structures, I learned how to talk to people, which is exactly the transition from being just an engineer to becoming a senior data engineer. I mean, it's about technical expertise, but this is something you develop along the way. To be a senior, you really have to work on your communication, which means you're no longer the person who simply executes and gets like tasks from someone else. You have to talk to the people and shape the project with them together. Because otherwise, if I let my stakeholders, for example, from the business side, from sales, if I let them define the project, I mean, they have no idea. And this is my duty as a senior data engineer to tell them how we can do it, how to architect the whole stuff, how to guide data from A to B, how to set everything up and ask them what they actually need. Because if they tell me what they need, it's so vague because they are not experts in data. They don't know how to express what they want. So my job is also to listen to them, ask them, what do you want? And then take this with my knowledge about business and about our technical capabilities to translate this into an analytical and technical problem, and then work my way back from what my stakeholders on the business side initially said. So it's, of course, about technical expertise, but I think being senior means getting the whole picture. And this is also, I would say, difference between being a data engineer and being a data architect. So as an architect, you have to overview the whole system. You have to think about how the whole system interacts and works together to achieve the output your business stakeholder wants. And the actual doing is the engineering part, but being a senior data engineer means also you architect a whole system all around and see the big picture.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that point. But I think it's very important for the audience to listen once again on the point you made, because you also mentioned that you started taking on projects that your coworkers, who maybe had a more traditional path into the data world, were not willing to take because it was very vague to them. So can you please emphasize again the point about the differences between being an engineer, data engineer, and being a senior data engineer?
When you're a normal engineer, you get tickets, you get tasks, you execute stuff someone else tells you, and you probably don't need to think a lot about all this stuff around. Don't want to generalize too much here, but this is my experience from my job. Being a normal engineer, I executed tasks. I got tickets from someone and I did what I was told. And my transition to being senior meant I would take the lead for a whole project. I would talk to the people, to the stakeholders, and to execute on this and to think about the whole system as a big picture. For example, let's take the sales department. They are interested in selling stuff and making money. Fair enough. That's the reason why this department exists. And then they tell me, yeah, I need to see those numbers each morning, and I want to see this, and I want to do that. And this is so far away from your technical stuff, because you maybe know some data sources and you know how to write some code within the data warehouse. But understanding what your business stakeholder needs and wants, and actually translating this into the technical stuff, which is your expertise, of course, but understanding these people, having empathy, communicating, not hiding behind your technical jargon. I was in so many meetings where there were like tech guys and people from business, and both sides were bombarding each other with, like, sales department came with KPIs and we need to do the churn rate and stuff. And the technical people, yeah, the data warehouse and the pipelines. And actually no one was pretty much aware what the other were talking about. And to bridge this gap between tech and business is what, for me, makes a senior data engineer. By communicating well, by trying to understand what the actual challenge is from business stakeholders. What I also noticed, a lot of people in data like to hide in their own space. They say, yeah, the pipeline runs perfectly. I don't care what the problem is. I did my technical execution. I did it perfectly, so I'm fine. I mean, there are also people working on the business side. They also have goals. They also have pressure from somewhere else, and they also need to achieve something in the whole context of the business. And being a senior means transitioning out of this isolated data space and understanding the big picture of a company, understanding the context of people who want to work with you, and understanding how. I mean, I'm providing a service within a company, so my duty is to help people achieve their goals with my data services, with what I'm doing. I'm not getting paid to write some code or to generate a pipeline. This is the product I create to help others, but this is not my purpose. My purpose is to serve others to fulfill their business goals. And this is something you need to realize to step out of the data space in order to become a senior.